Testing. Oh, look, it works. How amazing. Yay! Friends.
It's so good to see you.
Shana Tova. Wow. How wonderful it is to see people live and in color. Come on in, join us in our tent. You can spread out as much as you want, be as comfortable as you want. We're grateful that everybody is keeping those masks on and throughout our service, and we are just so glad, truly so glad that you are here with us. This is our family service, in case you couldn't tell. And, do you hear that? Mm-hmm. And we hope that everybody has their own family prayer book, the ones that look like this. I see a bunch. So we're going to be following this prayer book, this machzor. Machzor is the special word that we use for prayer books on those holiest of days. And today, our first special high holy day, of course, is Thanksgiving. You guys are too old for that? Okay, fine. I'll be serious. Let's turn to page 62. Page 62.
Jokes are harder to land in masks.
Oh my
too.
gosh. Page 6, tough crowd. Today is a beginning. The beginning of a new Jewish year. Like many beginnings, a new year brings hope and excitement. Today is also a holy day, a day to celebrate God's creation of the world, a day to say thank you to God for the world God has created for us. Like many beginnings, we enter the year with new hopes and new emotions, with hopes that we will do our best to make this year a good one, with hopes that this year will bring us more love, more health, and more peace. Rosh Hashanah, the bottom of our page, page 62. Rosh Hashanah is our reminder of our past and our future, a time when our people come together to celebrate and to pray. Rosh Hashanah is a time for each of us to speak to God, a time to thank God and to ask God for a good future. As a sacred community, we praise God, and with each blast of the shofar, we ask for a new year of new hopes and new beginnings, a year of renewed friendships, love, and happiness, a year of honesty, humility, kindness, and giving, a year of blessings, goodness, and peace for our families, for ourselves, our friends, and for all people. Page 64.
Mota ani lefanecha, melech v'kayam, shechazarta b'nishmati v'hamla, rabba emunatecha. Rabba emunatecha, mota ani lefanecha, melech v'kayam, shechazarta b'nishmati v'chemla, Rabba emunatecha, Rabba emunatecha.
Let's turn again to page 70. Something we always sang when we gathered together on our Sunday mornings, Elohai, Nishama Shenatata Bi. Nishama is the word for soul and the word for breath. So with every breath we take, we connect our bodies and our souls to the one who gave it all, which is our God. Page 70.
Neshama shenatata bi Elohai. Neshama shenatata bi Tehorahi, Tehorahi, Tehorahi. You created me, you shaped me, you breathed me into life. You created me, you shaped me, you breathed me into life. Elohai, Neshama, shenatata bi Elohai, Neshama, shenatata bi Tehorahi, Tehorahi, Tehorahi.
Let's turn page 73. Every day holds the beauty and wonder of the first day of creation. The high holy days remind us that new beginnings are precious and powerful. On this day we begin our service with gratitude. We thank Adonai, the source of blessings, for the opportunity to start a new page of our individual stories. We will work with Adonai and one another to open our eyes and our hearts to new ideas, bring freedom to all people, stand strong and together against injustice, celebrate the image of God found in every person, give of ourselves to strengthen our communities, empower all people by honoring their voices. We thank you, Adonai, for these opportunities to bring blessings into this world. We thank you, Adonai, for filling this moment with potential. We ask you to please rise if you are able. We continue on page 76.
Yalla lai lai lai, 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 yalla lai lai lai. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Baruch et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed. Le'olam va'ed. Yalla lai lai lai, 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 yalla lai lai lai.
Let's turn page 79.
As the night gives way today, a morning picture is painted across our sky. The sun comes up and the morning uncurls. A wonder we can't see, still wonder why. Still wonder why. God who makes the sunshine and the stars glow, you renew the cycle of creation day by day, giving light to our minds and our eyes, time after time, with the dawn of each new day. Each thing that God creates. God renews each day with love and care. Through God's light we understand the plan and wonder of this world which we all share. Which we all share. God who makes the sun shine and the stars glow, you renew the cycle of creation day by day, giving light to our minds and our eyes, time after time with the dawn of each new day. God who makes the sun shine and the stars glow, you renew the cycle of creation day by day, giving light to our minds and our eyes, time after time with the dawn of each new day.
Page 81. God's love stretches from top to bottom. It stretches and grows and melds the beginning and end. God's love reaches. From start to finish, it reaches and spreads, forgetting just where it began. God's love teaches. With stories and laws and rules and prayers, it teaches us best how to live. In love, we listen. We too can stretch. We too can reach. And we too can teach. As we seek the new year ahead, wrap us up in your peace like a great big talit. Hold us close with this prayer in your love. Baruch atah Adonai, habocher be'amo Yisrael, b'yahava. Page 82.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed.
You may be seated.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha ve'shinantam levanecha ve'dibarta bam ve'shivtecha bevetecha uvlechtecha v'aderech uv'shochvecha uv'kumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha ve'hayu letotafot beinenecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uv'isharecha Leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'tem kadoshim le'elohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem, Emet.
Let's turn. Mi chamocha, the prayer of redemption, page 86.
Mi chamocha ba'elim, Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh, no ra tehilot oseh.
So let's turn to page 89. Thank you, God, for our messy, crazy, and wonderful families. Thank you for allowing us to make deep and supportive connections with other people. Thank you for teaching us that belonging to a family is both a beautiful blessing and a sacred responsibility. When we look around this tent, we see that families are made in many ways, and we thank you for the diversity that exists in our extended congregational family. Page 90. We'll ask you to rise if you are able, and we move into the tefillah together.
Adonai sefatai tiftach uvi agid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor V'Hanara El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Konei HaKol V'Zocher Chastei Avot V'Imahot U'Mevi Geula Livnei V'Neihem Leman Shemo Be'ahava.
Page 94.
Zochenu lechaim melech hafetz b'chaim v'chodveinu b'sefer hachaim lemancha Elohim chaim melech ozer Moshiach u'magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham v'Ezrat Sarah.
Page 96.
Atah gibor leolam Adonai Mechayeh hakol atah Rav Hoshia Morid hatal Mechalkelchem b'chesed Mechayeh hakol Brachamim rabim Somech noflim V'rofei cholim U'matir asurim Umkayem emunato lishnei afar Michamoch bal geverot U'mido melach Melech memit U'mechayeh U'matzmiach yeshuva Michamoch el harachamim Zochetz rav l'chaim v'rachamim B'ne'eman atah l'hachayot hakol Baruch atah Adonai Mechayeh hakol.
You can be seated. Let's turn to page 101. God is like a parent watching over us. This next prayer for us, based on Untitled Chapter, it's a prayer that says that our deeds are written down and that God reads them. God cares about what we do and the people we are trying to become. God sees us when we do our best and when we fall short. When we try hard to be our best, God is proud of us, cheering us on. Sometimes scary things happen in the world, things that we cannot control, things that we do not understand. But there's a lot we can do to help others and to start to heal the world. You have taught us that there are 3 important ways that we can get through the difficult times and make things better. Let's read together. Teshuvah is turning back to God, turning back to doing what is right. We are not perfect. When we are not our best, God wants us to apologize to those we have hurt and try harder. Tefillah is prayer. When we feel sad or scared, we can talk to God. We can ask for wisdom, and we may feel stronger. Tzedakah is doing what is fair and what is just. Sometimes we feel like the world is out of control and that the problems are very big. But we can do our part to help, to be partners with God and make the whole world a better place. Teshuvah, tefillah, and tzedakah are what we need to do to write a new page in God's book. On page 103. There is holiness when we strive to be true to the best we know. There is holiness when we are kind to someone who cannot be of service to us. There is holiness when we promote family harmony, and there is holiness when we love truly and honestly and unselfishly. There is holiness when we are willing to be laughed at for what we believe in, and there is holiness when we forget what divides us and remember what unites us. There is holiness when we remember the lonely and bring cheer into a dark corner. There is holiness when we share our bread, our ideas, and our enthusiasm. Let's turn to page 107. Something that I always value, that I think is always so important, is how we share our blessings. So, for all of you parents, when you look on page 7, I'm going to ask you to, parents and grandparents, I'm going to ask you to look at that gold box and read along with me as you face your child, and you can take your hands and put it on your child's kepi. Kepi is an official term. You should all know the word kepi. Kepi is the word for head. So, for the parents to say to the children I care for, may you be like Abraham and Sarah, who had the courage to believe in a God they could not see. May you be like Rebekah, who is kind to all, people and animals. May you be like Jacob, who understood that God could be found everywhere. May you be like Miriam, whose love made her a protector. May you be like Moses, who wasn't afraid to ask for help. May all of our prayers be sweet to you, God, and may this new year be a good one. We all say Amen. Now, for you kids, take your hands and put it on your parents' and grandparents' kepi. If you can read along with me, and if you can't, just smile at them while I read it for you. So, is all of the heads on parents' heads? Yes, hands on heads. Right. Adult children, put it on your more adult parents. That's okay. Just as you bless and keep me, I want you to know my blessing for you. May you always have patience for my silliness and teasing. May you always have hugs, both for giving and receiving. May you always feel pride when you see how I've grown. I'm lucky to love you. Be blessed with Shalom. Beautiful. Well done, everybody. Now we're going to look to page 108 and 109. One of the things that is just so special that we get to do when we gather for Rosh Hashanah is to hear the blasts of the shofar. Now, the shofar is this incredible ancient instrument, but it's a horn. It's not like a trumpet or a French horn, although Jerry used to play the French horn, and that's why he's such a good shofar blower. But this is our time to be able to have this wake-up call, this ancient alarm clock, our opportunity to be woken up with a blast, a sound that really we can't translate into words. So the blessing to blow the shofar is on page 108. Jerry is going to be sharing there we go. Jerry's going to be sharing the blessing on 108, and then we're going to call out these sounds so that we can be moved and stirred and be woken up for a new year ahead. You want me to do it? Okay. Page 108, you can follow along. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kirshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lishmoa kol shofar. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechiyanu v'kiyamanu v'higiyanu lazman hazeh. Are you ready? Here he goes. Tekiah. I forgot to say you have to stand up for this. This is important stuff. Can we start again? Is that all right? Okay. Tekiah. Shvarim Trua. Tekiah. Tekiah. Shvarim. Tekiah. Tekiah. Teruah. Tekiah. Yasher Koach. Instead of clapping when we're at services, we say Yasher Koach. Wonderful. Let us turn the page. Oy, oy, oy. Thank you. On page 111.
Yivarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha.
Ken Yehi Ratzon, may God bless you and keep you.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka.
Ken Yehi Ratzon, may God look kindly upon you and always be gracious to you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
Ken Yehi Ratzon, may God reach out to you with tenderness and always give you peace.
Amen.
You may be seated. And let's take a moment for our own personal and private prayer.
Ose shalom bimroma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru amen. Ose shalom bimroma, yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru amen. Yalla la 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 la, yalla la la la, yalla la 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 la, yalla la yalla la la la, yalla la 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 la, yalla la la la. La 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 la, Yalalai, yalalai, lai, lai, Oseh Shalom Imroma. Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol Yoshvei Tevel ve'imru Amen.
On page 114, a special reading we say only on these holy days where we think of Avinu, like a parent. We think of Malkeinu, a leader, a sovereign. These are our special names for God. And so on 114 we read together, Avinu Malkeinu, hear our voice. Avinu Malkeinu, we have missed the mark before you. Avinu Malkeinu, have compassion on us and on our families. Avinu Malkeinu, help us bring an end to sickness, violence, and hunger. Avinu Malkeinu, let our hands overflow with your blessings. Avinu Malkeinu, help us write our names in the book of lives well lived. We ask you to rise.
Avinu Malkeinu, Chonenu Va'anenu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chonenu Va'anenu, Ki ein banu mazin. Aseh imanu, Tzedakah v'chesed. Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed, ve'hoshienu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chonenu va'anenu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chonenu va'anenu, Ki ein banu mazin. Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed. Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed, ve'hoshienu.
While the ark is open, we take the Torah out of the ark. Page 118, at the next bottom paragraph, where we continue with Shema Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo. Gadlu l'Adonai iti, uneromema Shemo yachdav. Lecha Adonai hagedula v'hagevura v'hatiferet v'hanetzach v'hahod. Ki ho b'shamayim u'va'aretz, ki ho b'shamayim u'va'aretz. Lecha Adonai hamamlacha v'hamid na'aseh lecho lero.
May be seated. So for all of you, you can tell that we wanted to make sure that we have a little taste of everything. Some things are for our families. Some things are also for our adults and parents. We wanted to try and create little tastes of all of these different connections to our service and to do so safely. Because of that, we're not taking the Torah out. I know, like one of the things I really love is when we take the Torah out and we process with the Torah, and everybody has the idea of kissing this Torah, but actually the tradition isn't to kiss it, but we kind of take our prayer books, or if we're wearing a talis, a talit, we take the fringes at the end, we touch the Torah and bring it to our lips. It's sort of like God kissing us. And I love that, but we're going to try and keep people as safe and as thoughtful as we possibly can. And so we don't have usually the same kinds of participation like we would normally do. And I'm sorry about that. But I do hope that this service is a good taste for everybody to have a little experience of Torah. One of the things we want to do today is just to read a little taste of what Torah is like, and to hear it out loud. And Holly's going to be chanting. Now, one of the readings that we do within the Reform movement, and we've been mentioning all throughout our service, is that Rosh Hashanah marks the day when the world was created. So it's sort of like the whole world's birthday. It's kind of neat to think about it that way. And if we have this connection to creation, to the world being created, well, not only is it kind of the playful idea of a birthday, but we get to, and it's kind of nice to be out in a tent and say this, but we get to connect ourselves back to land and earth and the beauty. And for us who live in this little area and get to look at the mountains, it's something really, really special. But it can't just be looked at. It certainly also has to be taken care of and protected and nourished as the earth nourishes us. So, we're going to do this Torah reading. Let me see. I'm going to invite everybody who's in the tent to say the blessings before and after the reading of the Torah. You can find it on page 121. We can say them all together. And Holly is going to be leading us. The blessing first. Are you ready?
Ready, everyone? Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach leolam vaed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach leolam vaed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. So the words aren't in the prayer book, but there hopefully was a sheet that you can that if you took you could follow along. That will have the first beginning of the Rosh Hashanah Torah reading. It starts with Bereshit.
Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz ve'haaretz hayta tohu vavohu ve'choshech al pnei tehom ve'ruach Elohim merachefet al pnei hamayim vayomer Elohim yehi or vayehi or Vayar Elohim et haor ki tov Vayavdel Elohim ben haor uvein hachoshech Vayikra Elohim laor yom velachoshech kara laila Vayhi erev vayhi voker yom echad.
So what you heard was when God began to create, the very, very first thing, when all of the chaos, all of the voids, all of the darkness, that God created light. Not the sun and not the moon. So this is a different light that comes directly from God. And after God created all of those things, there was day one. Wonderful.
It was Tov.
And it was Tov. It was good. So while the Torah is here and out and amongst us.
Wait, should I do the blessing after first?
Oh, please do. Thank you, Holly.
Okay. You're always the one that reminds me, so that was good. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen. And still, while the Torah is out, we always think of friends and family, neighbors, loved ones who are in the midst of some struggles. We know that there is many in our lives and in our community that need some extra love and strength from us, and so we share a prayer. If you'd like to say a name of someone out loud, we invite you to do so. Someone who's dealing with illness or hardship or struggle. If you'd like to share their name, just call them out. Page 123.
Misheverach avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength who blessed the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misheverach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. And let us say Amen.
We're going to redress the Torah. We'll invite you to look on page 124. Bill is a good friend who comes Shabbat mornings and helps, so he's been practicing this all week for you. All week. So we're going to ask you to rise as we raise the Torah scroll.
Vezot haTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai beyad Moshe al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim haolam omed, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim haolam omed, al haTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al gemilut chasadim, al haTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al gemilut chasadim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim haolam omed.
So we're going to ask you to stay standing because we have another little section for our shofar. If you look on page 128, we continue with the next series of calls from the shofar. We usually keep our memories stored away. They stay in dusty boxes, quietly resting until a reason comes to brush them off, to take them out, to revisit them like old friends. The blast of the shofar opened the box. Tekiah, he remembers holidays with his grandparents. No one makes matzah balls quite like theirs. Shvarim, She remembers falling off her bike again and again until finally she was flying down the path on 2 wheels. Trua, we remember the feel of loving arms around us. Our next shofar blast, connected to the theme of Zichronot, memories, helps us carry these precious memories into the future. Tekiah, Shvarim Trua, Tekiah, Tekiah, Shvarim, Tekiah, Tekiah, Trua, Tekiah, Yasher Koach. Page 129, Hineni means, here I am. I'm ready to do what you ask of me. As we listen to the shofar calls, we say to God, Hineni. Help us to hear these calls and answer them. Hineni. Help us to hear the call of God and answer it. Hineni. Help us to hear the call of our family and friends and answer it. Hineni. Help us to hear the call of our community and answer it. Hineni. Help us to hear the call to do good and answer it. Hineni. Help us to hear the call to correct our mistakes and answer it. Hineni. Help us to hear the call to justice and answer it. Hineni. Help us to hear the call to be kind and answer it. Hineni. We turn to 134. Sure. I'm sorry, 132, and we bring the Torah back to the ark.
Shalom, 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 shalom. Yitzchayim hila machazikim ba v'tomcheha, me'ushar Yitzchayim hila machazikim ba v'tomcheha, me'ushar. Shalom, 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 shalom. It is a tree of life to them that hold fast to it, and all of its supporters are happy. It is a tree of life to them that hold fast to it, and all of its supporters are happy. Shalom, 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 shalom.
And now we turn the page. The next section of our shofar blast. In a still small silence, you hear a voice. In a loud, confusing crowd, your name rings out. Looking over your shoulder, do you mean me? Yes, you. Yes, me. Our third final shofar blast, shofarot, is the call meant for each of us. The long tekiah reminds us that we all have work to do. The new year is here. Let's begin. Tekiah, Shvarim Trua, Tekiah, Tekiah, Shvarim, Tekiah, Tekiah, Trua, Tekiah Gedolah. Yasher Koach. So just so everybody knows, I think it's a really wonderful and special thing. Not only is Jerry doing this for us each year, but this is his 50th year blowing shofar. So Yasher Koach to Jerry, may you continue to go and grow from strength to strength. Todah, friend. You can be seated. So let me tell you a really quick story. Because Rosh Hashanah is our time always to do some growing. This is our time to think about a new message, something that we can learn. But one of the things that's really important to do about Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur is to consider, how can we be better? How can we make better choices? How can we grow and learn and experience so we can be the best parents we can be, so that we can be the best people that we can be? Well, once upon a time, there was a young person who went over to the rabbi, because the rabbis are always very smart and wise and all of that kind of stuff. And the time comes when this person reaches every year and says to the rabbi, I struggle with something. I'm wondering, because we're supposed to, what I've done over the past year that was so wrong, and I can't think of anything. I think about it all day long and all month long, trying to lead up before Rosh Hashanah, because it's a time of asking people for forgiveness. It is a time of asking God for forgiveness. And I'm trying to think what I've done, and, well, I can't think of anything. So the rabbi thinks about this. Okay? So the rabbi thinks about this and says to this young person, I want you to go back and do exactly what I say. I want you to go to the creek right by St. Andrew's Presbyterian Church. I want you to go to the creek and find a really big, big rock. Bring as many as you can carry and bring them over to me. And so this person does that, goes over to the creek, finds really big rocks, kind of puts them in the water, get all of the dirt and the schmutz off. You know the word schmutz? It's an important word. Yeah? Okay, good. Take all of the dirt and the schmutz off, puts them in the knapsack, and brings them back to the rabbi and says, here you go. I did exactly what you did. Takes out each rock and puts them on the table. Well, the rabbi looks and says, this is great. You've done exactly what I've told you. I want you to take these rocks, put them back in your knapsack, and put them exactly in the same spot where you found them over by the creek. So the person does that. Takes the rocks, put them in the knapsack, brings them back to this creek next to St. Andrew's Presbyterian Church, whose pastor was there a second ago, and comes back to the rabbi and says, I don't feel any different. No. What should I do now? And the rabbi says, I'm really glad you asked this question, because you're not quite done yet. You took the really big rocks and you brought them over to me from the creek, and then you put them in the same spots. And you were even able probably to see like the indentation, kind of like a little hole from the rocks in the first place. And you put them right back where you found them. It was not a problem. Okay, so that's what they did. Well, now I want you to go back and get as many pebbles as you can. As many pebbles as you possibly can. Get them from the creek, bring them back over to me, and put them on the table. And so he does exactly that. Takes the pebbles, brings them over, puts them on the table, and the rabbi says, I want you to take all of those pebbles and put each one back exactly where you found it. And this young person says, I can't do that. How could I possibly do that? And the rabbi, in a very gentle rabbinic way, said, aha! That's the point. Sometimes when we know we've done wrong, when we know that we hurt somebody's feelings, it kind of sticks to us for a while. We know that we've done something to hurt somebody else, and hopefully we get to say we're sorry. But there are other times, all over the course of the year, where we don't really pay attention. We don't notice that we've hurt somebody's feelings. We haven't really paid attention to know that we've done something wrong, and so there's just a miss. So there's a custom where we go to people that we've hurt, people that we know and love, and we say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the things that I might have done on purpose. I'm sorry for the things that I've forgotten about. I'm sorry for the things that I don't even realize, ways that I might have hurt you, but you're important to me. So I want you to know that if I hurt you at all over the course of this year, on purpose or by accident, I say I'm sorry. We might not forget, we might not remember everything we've done over the course of the year, but part of Rosh Hashanah is to help us think about what might have we done. Did we give a push? Did we use unkind words? Were we as generous as we could have been? Did I wear my mask below my nose? Whatever it might have been, can we figure out who's important to us and how to go over to them and say, I'm sorry. Whether I remember or not, whether you told me or not, this is a time to grow. So maybe, just maybe, you want to turn to the people that are in your cars and in your homes. Turn to them and say, if I've hurt you on purpose or by accident this year, I want you to know that I'm sorry. Try it. See how you feel. I hope you feel better. Oh, there's a lot of apologizing. It's been a rough year. Goodness. Friends, let's return to our prayer book and move to conclude. We're going to do Aleinu L'Shabeach, page 142. We'll ask you to rise if you're able.
עלינו לשבח אדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, לגור עלינו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו echad.
We turn again 146. Kaddish Yatom, our prayer Kaddish at the end of our services. It's never about death or dying, but we say it for those whom we've loved and those whom we've lost. People who have died in years past, whether it was at this time in this season or really other times in a long time ago. Within our community, we have a few people we are remembering, because that's what we do. Someone from our congregation whom we've just lost, a beloved congregant for many decades and teacher locally, Joel Salzberg, the husband of Kathleen Salzberg. And those yard sites that we recall on this Rosh Hashanah for these past years, Sophie Goldstein, Roy Rottenberg, Steve Portnoy, Ann Zussman Scholzinger, and June Polis. Kaddish is on 146. We remember them by praising God's name and doing so in their memory. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah. Be'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei. V'chayechon v'yomichon. V'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala u'vizman kari v'meru. Amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mivarach leolam omei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal. Shemei d'Kudesha b'richu. Le'ela mikol v'erchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Da'amiran be'alma v'meru. Amen. Yehi shlama Rabbah min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'meru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'meru. Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn, comfort to the bereaved here and everywhere. Let's all say Amen. You can be seated. We have one closing song to share with you, but I just want to say a quick thing. First of all, we are so glad that you are able to join us. And while our pre-K friends are across the way by the creek where those stones were that we talked about, we're going to be gathering again for other services. In just a little while, we're going to ask you, our friends, if you could take your prayer books and bring them back to at the end of our prayer. If you would take them back over to our cart, we would be so grateful. And then you can return to your cars, and new friends are going to be coming into our tent for the rest of the day. We also want to remind you that those green bins over to the side over there, next Yom Kippur, on Yom Kippur, the next time we have our family service, we're going to have those bins there again, because every year, when we fast for Yom Kippur, we think about people who don't have enough food to eat. So while we are eating less or not at all, for other parts of our community, other people in our community, they don't have enough food in their house to eat. And so our job to fix our broken world is to make sure that we help and bring some food. We hope that you bring them into those green bins. Thank you.
The bottom of page 167, it's so amazing and good to be together. Hine ma tov u'manayim, shevet achim kam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim, shevet achim kam yachad. Hine ma tov, shevet achim kam yachad. Hine ma tov, shevet achim kam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim, shevet achim kam yachad.
We wish you a Shana Tova Umetuka, a good and sweet year. We're glad that you are here with us, and we say to you to take care of each other. Have a gentle day, a wonderful Rosh Hashanah, a wonderful beginning to a new year. Good Yontif, everybody.